Today's story is titled Fourth Born Slaughter by Green Somewhere 1107. The link to the story is in the description below. Please enjoy. Once upon a time, in a world far, far away, there rose above an endless sea of forest trees the most incredible kingdom the world of man had ever seen. Separate from the foliage below, this titan of man's exuberance clawed at the sky with temples and turrets crafted from the most indomitable of stone. Clad in a myriad of gold amidst its highest peak was a large man which many would herald as king. With dappered features and a mane of stubborn coal, he ruled his expansive kingdom much like a child would tend to his toys. There was never any danger, so long as the gates remained locked. The people were well fed and truly cared for, so long as they never looked outside. For many years, the kingdom thrived overtop a canopy of thick, entwined branches. There were fear of what lived within the forest's depths. Rumors spread of dark voices and bright eyes. Yet the bound between man and nature was never crossed, and so the people grew content and comfortably complacent. That is, until a young woman came stepping out from the bramble. She was a wanderer of sorts, endowed with the bright passions allotted through skillful song and delirious dance. Despite the cautious eyes of those who watched her, she would begin performing the kind of show which inspired greater joy within every witness throughout the stoic kingdom. Soon men, women, and children from all over came to spectate the performances brought to life by someone who hailed from the furthest reaches of the forest. But then came the king from off his high golden throne. The whispers were rampant, and he caught along the curve of his listening ear, and before long, he was determined to bear witness to the miracles performed by this young and mysterious woman. She'd dance and she'd sing, casting color from each toe and fingertip. The king, for all his immaturity, would fall immediately in love. He had 3 children already, all daughters born from different wives. But of this strange and eager artist, he made the choice for her in bearing him a 4th. But the young woman did not love the king back. Her heart was already taken by the tall green forest that nurtured and freed her. She was a princess both precious and pure, a righteous innocence compressed into the fetching image of fortune, flesh, and bone. But this did not stop the king. So reckless was he when it came to the things that he wanted, that despite the woman's cries, he had her locked away within a gilded cage inside his cold stone castle. There she was forced to perform for him each day alone, and through the king's own hubris, she eventually carried his 4th child completely to term. She bore the king's son along a white linen sheet, dyed gold from the heat of a roaring fireplace. He'd welcome his heir until lying sight upon the thing's twisted form. It was howling a rapturous cry, desperate for the teat of his mother. The 4th-born child was born with a bird's feet, a cat's eyes, and a fox's jaw. Each repulsive piece glistened new to the light in a way that championed the young woman's joy. "That's my child," she would say, gaunt and pale-faced from exertion. "It's a monster," the king would decry before feeding the infant into a flame. There, the beast would burn, while the king, in his anger, slew the love of his life. He spurned the forest which spawned her, so much so that he made it his purpose to tear it all down. Once the fire had died, the ashes were shoveled and carried away. They were used to line the boundaries between both his world and hers. an offering almost, to help feed the forest. No one noticed the tiny child as it crawled into the trees. From that day on, the gorgeous skies were turned to stone. The scent of a blistering flame became permanent. The vibrant forest fell away from the iron maw of an uprising kingdom, and the scarred earth seemed to helplessly glisten with the tears of its children. The child, on rickety legs, wandered the dark for many nights. He didn't eat. He couldn't sleep. The agony of his burns kept him from ever finding peace. Eventually, the boy's persistence would give out, and he sought to rot away along the root and fallen leaves. He'd cling to this decision for many more days, until the scent of smoke nearly choked him.
"The forest is dying,"
said a large black wolf.
"So am I,"
replied the child. A wet muzzle would prod at the back of his head.
"You reek of him."
Feline eyes sought to restrain worse tears.
"I am not his son."
Many days would pass while the black wolf stood in vigil, watching as the child awaited the end of his life.
"The king will never love you, not like I do."
The forest grew silent as the boy counted the stars within the wolf's dark eyes.
"But I can give you what you want. His heart for yours."
A touch of affection. The boy bathed his scarred hand in a sea of pitch-black fur.
"Promise?"
The wolf ate his heart, then disappeared. Beneath a gorgeous canopy of leaves, the boy would wait. For 7 years he sought to prove patient. Then the day came when the wolf would return. He brought him a pair of legs, so long and pale and slender. They belonged to a dancer, the most graceful in all the kingdom. The wolf would give the boy these legs.
"You have to eat the old ones."
The boy would do as he was told. Their fragile bones would catch in his throat. The wolf would leave again, but now the boy could walk. For 7 more years he danced throughout the forest, a graceful spirit hidden amongst the briar root and bramble. One day, the wolf returned. He brought with him a mouth, with lips so luscious and a tongue that never tied. It belonged to a singer, the most captivating in all the kingdom. The wolf would give the boy this mouth. He needn't repeat a command. The boy would commit the same act as before. A mess of fur would catch in his throat. The wolf would leave again, but now the boy could speak. For 7 more years he danced throughout the forest. A haunting melody would follow his every pirouette. One final day, the wolf returned. He brought with him this time a face, with delicate skin and a host of varied expressions. It belonged to an actress, the fairest in all the kingdom. The wolf would give the boy this face, but as the boy consumed the old one, the beast didn't disappear.
"You must leave the forest."
Fear gripped the boy as he swallowed.
"But go where?"
"Back to the kingdom."
The iron maw had reached them. Flames scorched the stone slab skies, leaving an amber glow to the light that ruined forest land below. There were so very few trees left to match the field of death. It was dire, the state of things. The wolf led the boy, now a young man, to the boundaries between stone and green.
"Use the gifts that I gave you and meet with the king. Only then will my promise to you be achieved."
With that, the wolf disappeared, and the young woman re-entered the kingdom, no longer a thing of nature and ash, but a proud figure of talent and toil. The kingdom had spread out over the earth. They buried its clear wounds under stone. The people were much less hospitable to her warmth. as though the king's own madness had starved them of granting anyone but him affection. Yet without hesitation, the young woman would start to sing. Then she moved along to a rhythm they'd soon come to covet. Soon rumors spread again of another performer. The king atop his stone pillar seethed.
Bring her to me,
the man would decree. And as the young woman made her way across the stone sea, there came hands that sought more than to laud her. She was brought before the king's golden seat. He was old now, but still much a monster.
Go on.
The king leered, yet the young woman showed no signs of reluctance. She plucked out a memory of her mother, then put on her greatest performance. The king felt shame in the way she looked at him, guilt from the word that the young woman uttered. There was fear in his eyes as he watched her bare legs. He was sobbing by the time she concluded her act. "Tell me of your children," the young woman said. The king was a blubbering mess.
Dead. The whole lot of them. I failed them each as a father.
His throne was less precious now than gold.
My firstborn, sickness took her. She couldn't walk near the end of her days. And the second, a victim of awful seizures. She chewed her tongue off and choked on the swelling. And the last, the poor thing, she caught in a fire and burned to flame. By the time its light died out, I couldn't recognize her, let alone even look at her face.
The young woman had shortened the distance between them. She held herself close once she uttered, "But what, my liege, became of the fourth?" The king would merely shudder.
That was no child, but a beast the forest brood.
No sooner than he said this, the realization came from a closer inspection of abscondent features.
You.
The king withered, while the young woman stepped back. She threw off her garb and revealed the cruel revelation beneath. Perfect features, undone by gnarled, scarred chest. A gaping hole where her heart once stood. "I've come to reclaim what you never sought to offer." With a reaching hand, the young woman slipped it inside the king's chest. She felt the muscle beat, its strong bind straining against her purposeful grip. Then the final artery tore, and she was left holding her father's heart for his crumbling kingdom to see. The king would watch as she placed the precious thing inside an open wound. The hole would quiet shut. Then the fourth born would recede. The kingdom fell that very same night, crushed beneath its own weight of ancient stone. The people would recede from its husk, while the trees returned to claim what had been unjustly taken. Over time, the castle became a buried mountain. The king's corpse, draped still in fool's gold, the only evidence that life had once thrived there. Yet the whispers still traveled of a young woman and her black wolf, of the rare performances that would take place throughout the forest only once every 7 years. Men often spoke of her undying beauty, while the woman would claim to have sometimes seen a cat or a fox or an owl. Nevertheless, those in attendance would always walk away in tears, truly moved by the experience. Moreover, there soon came the talk of small children, adorned with both animal features and hides. Some were singers, some dancers, some writers, all dreamers. They spoke of their mother with pride.